Captain's log. Start date 160305. How's everyone doing this week? Functioning within established parameters. What you heard was the Klingon version of For He's a Jolly Good Fellow.
That was not a Klingon song.
See? Even Worf said it's not a Klingon song. But hey, you know what? We'll go with it here on Prosper. This week's special birthday entry for me, is brought to us by the lovely Trek Lady C. Look her up. I'll include a link. in the post. But hit her up, give her some likes, tell her I sent you. Captain by Captain Christine Hope. Captain, live long and prosper, as always. All right. That being said, you know what? It's my birthday. I want a big beverage. One big beverage of choice. Oh my goodness. This one is a big and strong one. It's Gouden Carolus. 11% alcohol by volume. Belgian beer. Ooh, this is good stuff. Now, it's got a cork, so the proper opening device is right here. This may take me a minute. No, I think I'm good. Almost like a champagne pop. Ooh, look at that. It looks nice and dark, too. Alrighty then. There we go. Now, ladies and gentlemen, kapla! Ooh. Yeah, I'm not going to be sober by the time this is over with. Alright. Celebrating birthdays for the last couple weeks. Celebrating with me. First from the 22nd. A lovely lady I knew from high school. Lovely lady. Think the world of her. I'm talking about Lynette Mosier. Lynette, what is going on? How are you doing? I haven't heard from you in a while. Hit me up. Hope things are going well for you. If you drink, have one with me. If not, I'll have one for you. Next on the list, a lovely lady that I met. She actually lives in northern Indiana, also known as Michigan. The lovely Brandy Mannion. Brandy, what's going on? How you doing? How are things going for you? Hey, did you talk to that guy in the coffee shop? Or was it a convenience store? I don't remember. I know you and I had talked about it, but is that going anywhere? If so, congratulations. If not, c'est la vie. Hey, Brandy, happy belated. All right, next on the list, an awesome medical professional. Actually took care of my lovely wife, Robin, back last year. She had to go to sick bay for a while. Robin Murphy. Robin, what's going on? How you doing? I saw where you had a nice little gathering for your birthday. Hope it was a good one. Hope you partied hard, celebrated well, and I drink to you. All right, next on the list. Guy I actually met while I was on a business trip. Born 1 week before me. I'm talking about the Honorable Shawn Waters. Shawn, my friend, what is up? What are you up to nowadays? I hope this finds you well. Hope you're doing good. Hope you continue to keep doing what you're doing. Hope you're able to get a cold one on your birthday. All right, next on the list. Awesome guy I've met. I haven't met him in person, but I do know that he is an awesome medical professional. Talk about the Honorable Gene Chadwick. Gene, what's up, man? How you doing? Hope your birthday was a good one. Hope you got spoiled rotten. Hey, let's drink. All right, next on the list, a fellow Masonic brother, a fellow brother past master. I know from my mother lodge back home. The Honorable Garon Bailey. Brother Garon, what is going on? How you doing? I hope things are working well for you. I hope things are going great. I drink to you, my brother. All right. Next on the list, an awesome lady I know here, good friend of mine here. Talking about the lovely, awesome Amber Lewis. Amber, what is up? How was your birthday? I hope it was a good one. Hope you celebrated well. Hope you were able to celebrate well. Hope you didn't get into too much trouble. Nah, I'm kidding. I know you wouldn't get into trouble. But hey, Amber, happy birthday. And the final birthday from February, a lovely lady I met in a German class when I was living in off Deutschland, the lovely Gabrielle Loken. Loken. It's spelled like Locken, but I'm not totally sure. I'm going to go with Locken because that's the way it looks like. Gabby, wie geht es Ihnen? Ich sehr gut. But hey, I never learned how to say happy birthday in German. If you remember, let me know. If you learned, let me know. If you remember, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to go with happy birthday. All right, that is it for February. Now, let's move on to March. An awesome lady, a CrossFitter. Although she wasn't really into CrossFit when I met her in Germany, she's really gotten into it now. The awesome Lindsey Cheney. Hey, Lindsey, how the heck are you? I see you're getting ready to move to... I see you're getting ready to move back to good old America. Hit up some Walmart for me. Hit up some Walmart. Let me know how it is. Tell Eric not to enjoy that Sunday afternoon football too much. I'm actually rather jealous of you on that one. But hey, you know what? It is what it is. I'll just take my Monday morning football, do what I can with it. But Lindsey, happy birthday. All right, next on the list. A few years ago, when we were living in Germany together, celebrated our birthday together, the awesome, honorable Dorian Jorgensen. Hey, what is going on, dude? How's life treating you? Hope it's going well. Hope things are going well for you. Hope you're doing okay. Hey, I happen to know for a fact that you are too young to drink. But hey, I have a solution for that. Take root beer. Okay? Get an A&W, whatever your root beer is. Root beer, okay? Pour it into a square glass. You got beer. Cheers and root beer in a square glass to you. All right, next up on the list. I knew this guy off Deutschland. Same birthday, has a sheriff's birthday with him. Glad to do it. The Honorable Joe Stone. Hey, Joe, what's up, dude? What is going on? How you doing? Hope life's treating you well. Hope Ron spoiled the crap out of you on your birthday. Tell her I said hello. Tell her I said hello. And you guys, hey, Joe, happy birthday. Next on the list. Ugh. Steelers fan. Ugh. Nah, I'm kidding. Know him here, met him here. Good dude. Really good dude. Ernie Fritz. Yo, what's going on, Ernie? How was your birthday? I hope it was a good one. Oh, and in the immortal words of Red Foreman from that 70s show, happy birthday, dumbass. Nah, I'm kidding. Thought you might get a kick out of that one. Here's to you. Here's to you, Ernie. All right, next on the list, another gentleman I met off Deutschland, Amtthias Agni. Hey, Herr Agni, wie geht es Ihnen? Sehr gut. Still sehr gut. Unfortunately, I never learned how to say happy birthday in German. I apologize for that. But hey, Amtthias, happy birthday. Next on the list, almost there, folks. Next on the list, a lovely young lady I went through a leadership course with while we were living in Germany. While we were in Germany. Sorry. She is a dental assistant by trade, the awesome Randi Stein. Hey, Randi, what is going on? How are you doing? I hope things are going well for you. Hope you're situated. Hope you're rocking out, kicking butt, killing commies for mommy. Hey, I drink to you, my dear. And the final birthday for this past 2 weeks. Knew her in jolly old England. Ran into her again in Yeehaw, Texas. when I went and paid a visit to Commander Love Dr. Baker, the awesome Jenna Skyberg. Jenna, it was great to see you again. It really was. I was really happy to see you again. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes hanging out with me. I know you were headed elsewhere, but I can't speak for the Love Doctor, but I was glad to see you again. I'm sure he was too, but I'm not going to presume. Jenna, cheers and beers to you, my dear. Hey, guess what? That's it for the birthdays. Oh, I skipped over. Yeah, I'll come to that in the Star Trek facts. I'll come to that after the next segment. I have a handful of additional greetings. In order to do that, we need to talk about Identify This. Now, I'm going to go a little bit out of order here because I have multiple winners, or I have, the same individuals won multiple times within the course of the last 2 weeks, which by the Identify This rules are acceptable. You can win 1 week and win the next week. Just don't be greedy and try to win twice in the same week. Fair play. Let everybody else, share the love. Oh, excuse me. I apologize for that. All right. The first one I'm going to bring up was actually the first one from last week. I wanted to know the character. And David Jackson, by golly, you hit it right on the head. You said that was Robin Leffler. That is it. Totally correct. Awesome job. Way to go. And while I'm talking about David Jackson, the last Identify This number 6 from the past 2 weeks, I wanted you to identify the Holo program. Well, David Jackson, you did it again. You said Dixon Hill. That's exactly what that was. Way to go. Good job. Congratulations to you. Twice. Congratulations to you both times. All right. Now, this next shout out, this next greeting, only got it once, only guessed once in the last 2 weeks. I wanted to know the episode. Hey, what could be better than 7 of 9? 7 of 9 twice. Episode I was looking for was Relativity. As Shannon McNeil, you've heard the name before. He hit it right on the head. Congratulations, Shannon. Well done. Well done indeed. That was Identify This number 2 for the last 2 weeks. Number 3. I wanted to know the ship. And Mike Kirk nailed it right on the head. He was half right, but I only wanted the ship. One's going for the time frame. But he said that was the Enterprise 1701J. That is exactly it. Well done. And while I'm talking about Mike, I wanted you to identify the actor. This was number 5. I wanted you to identify the actor. And Mike said it. He said it was Ron Perlman. Outstanding job. Way to go on that one. And finally, the last Identify This spanning this past 2 weeks. I know I went out of order, but I grouped everything together. There was a reason behind it. I wanted to know the episode. And would you believe it? It got guessed exactly right. Donald Rogers hit it right on the head. He said Stormfront Part 1. That was it. Awesome job to all of you. The Prosper salute. And I drink. All right. Now, I have some job promotions I want to get to. I have 3 individuals I want to recognize for earning job promotions. And the first one, I probably should have done this a few months ago. I apologize for this. But he had earned a job promotion. He is in that position now. I'm talking about the awesome, honorable Jim Walworth. Hey, Wally, congratulations to you on your job promotion. If anybody deserves it, if anybody deserves that job promotion, it is you. Outstanding job. Congratulations to you. Two more job promotions I want to get to. But like Jim, I knew these people, I knew these 3, well, I knew these other 2 in off Deutschland. The first one, the lovely, awesome Dana Obi. You've heard that name on Prosper before. She is an awesome lady. Very, very, very good leader of men and women and transgendered people. Hey, they exist. Think the world of her. A lovely person. Cincinnati Bengals fan. But hey, we'll get into that later. Dana, congratulations to you on your job promotion. And also, finally, for the third job promotion I want to talk to, he was actually one of my bosses in Germany, Steve Feathers. I think the world of him. He and I actually got to Germany about the same time. Think the world of him. Very, very awesome dude. Congratulations to the three of you. The Prosper salute to y'all. And I drink. Alrighty then. Okay. Next on the list, a special wedding announcement from the 22nd. Corey and Brittney Downing. Now, I met those two while she was here at Earth Station Okinawa on a little bit of a vacation. Hung out with them for a weekend. Congratulations to the two of you. I am very proud of you. I am very honored. Congratulations. I cannot wait to see the both of you again. Looking forward to it. The Prosper salute to you. I wish you at least 70 years of wedded bliss together. And I drink. Stay, Jim. Time for a refill. Oh, excuse me. Lord, I apologize. Be with the starving pygmies in New Guinea. Amen. Woo! Folks, I'm going to be slightly intoxicated by the time this is over with. But hey, it's my show. I can do that. Next on the list. Yeah, okay. A birth announcement. I believe also from the 22nd or maybe the 28th. I think it was the 28th. I should have done better research on that before I came here. Before I came to this, I apologize. Brian and Iris Carpenter, congratulations to you on the birth of your twins, Eli and Ellie. Congratulations to you and your family. Outstanding. I know you're successful parents for the first three. I know you're going to be awesome for these next two. Keep on keeping on. We need good people like you to continue repopulating the species, as it were. Good people like you making good children. Keep up the good work. Very much congratulations to the two of you. The Prosper salute. And I drink. All right. I have a couple wedding anniversary greetings I want to extend real quick. This one's probably going to be long, folks. I apologize now. Couple wedding anniversaries celebrating 11 years together. My friend here at Earth Station Okinawa, Tim Ooms. I'm sorry, I should have done more research, got your wife's name, but congratulations to the two of you on 11 years. 11 down, 59 to go. Congratulations to you. And celebrating his first wedding anniversary. My friend here, Wendell Brown, congratulations to the two of you on 1 year. Hey, you know what? Keep on keeping on. The Prosper salute to you guys. I drink to you. Next on the list, I'm almost done. Gotta give some love to my neighbors, Amber Palmer and Brooks Dorsey. You two are awesome. The wife was not feeling well today. The house commander was ill. Not sick bay worthy, but she was ill. I had to cancel our plans. Thank you so much for, as much as it sucks that we had to cancel our plans, I want to thank you still for, not this one, but I have a red label. I have a red label of this one. I want to thank you guys so much for that. We're going to have lunch on you guys. We'll probably have lunch or dinner on you guys tomorrow. And the snazzy bow tie you sent me, you also brought over. Thank you guys so much. You guys rock. Thank you again so much. I drink. And finally, The final greeting of the day. You know what they say, save the best for last, right? Well, I forgot about him. Or else I'd have mentioned him before Amber and Brooks. Nah, I'm just kidding. You've heard his name several times before. I'm talking, including a couple times in this one. I'm talking about Commander Love Dr. Baker, Josh Baker. Excuse me. The talent over at Beer and Song of the Day. This past week, what would normally be Thrash Metal Thursday for Beer and Song of the Day, he put together a special Justin Dimmitt birthday tribute. I am honored. Commander Baker, as you would say, that was wicked awesome. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate the tribute. I really, 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 really do. Hey, you know what? We ought to hang out again sometime. Especially with Star Trek's 50th coming around the corner. That is 6 months and 3 days away. But hey, I'll get to that here in a little bit. Josh, prosper salute to you as always. Let's drink. This one may be ready in time for Spinoff Saturday. We'll see. All right. That's it for all the greetings. Now, I mentioned some Star Trek news. I wanted to open this with news of that, but I guess I could do it now. Star Trek All Access, as it's being called now, the 2017 series that is going to be available exclusively on CBS All Access, hence the name Star Trek All Access, has added to its writing staff Nicholas Meyer. Now, for those of you that were around for The Wrath of Khan, The Voyage Home, and The Undiscovered Country will recognize that name, because Nicholas Meyer directed 2, wrote 4, and wrote and directed 6. All right, I took a Josh Baker there. Who cares? That man put out 2 of the best Star Trek movies in the franchise. CBS, or not CBS, but Brian Fuller has brought him on board as at least a creative consultant. Excuse me. Which reminds me, Brian Fuller has been named showrunner for Star Trek All Access. He was named showrunner, I want to say, about a month ago. I can't remember if I mentioned that, so I'm mentioning it now. Brian Fuller is a Star Trek fan whose time with Star Trek actually started as a writer with Deep Space Nine and Voyager. A Star Trek fan running a Star Trek series, I think, is going to be awesome. The addition of Nicholas Meyer tells me that CBS is very serious about this, very serious about putting out Star Trek and appealing to the fans, and also joining as an executive producer. This one makes it Star Trek. If it weren't for this edition, I would be very skeptical about it. But Mr. Rod Roddenberry has been added to the creative team of Star Trek All Access, as it's being called. Folks, I don't know about you, but I am very, very, very hopeful about this upcoming series. I really am. I can't believe we have to wait another 10 months for this. But hey, you know what? You know what they say? Good things come to those who wait. So let's be patient. Let us wait. And let us hope we get more details along the way. You know what? That calls for a drink. Captain Kirk, I'm going to quote Captain Kirk from Star Trek Generations. He said, "It wouldn't be the Enterprise without a Sulu at the helm." No offense to J.J. Abrams and his creative team, who brought us one good movie and one rehash, but I'm going to paraphrase that. I'm going to say that it wouldn't be Star Trek without a Roddenberry at the helm. It's only the right thing to do. Rod Roddenberry, as you may or may not know, I may have already said it. I'm floating a little bit. Rod Roddenberry is the son of Gene Roddenberry and Majel Barrett Roddenberry, who I'll mention here in a minute. I'm very excited. I'm cautiously optimistic about the series. I hope I can remove cautiously from that, and I hope I can remove optimistic, because I hope it's going to be good. Whew. All right, let us move on to this week in Trek history. First event to mention. First event of major importance to mention. I mentioned it on my last entry. I said I'd mention it again. Here I am doing it again. February 22nd, 1968. Actress Jeri Ryan was born. You saw her a couple minutes ago when I talked about Relativity. She played 7 of 9, Star Trek Voyager. She turned 48, and she is still looking great. I tell you what, I wouldn't mind being assimilated by her single, of course. Next on the list, February 23rd, 1932, Majel Barrett Roddenberry was born. Known as the First Lady of Star Trek, mother of Rod Roddenberry. She was born that day. Unfortunately, she passed away from leukemia December 18th, 2008. If she were still alive today, she'd be 84 years old. This next one, folks, hurts. I'm still hurting over this one. February 27th, 2015, Leonard Nimoy passes away from the end stage of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease caused by being an Olympic champion smoker. That one was sad. That one was very sad. March 2nd, 1917, actor Desi Arnaz was born. Now, why am I bringing him up, you might ask? Easy. He was married to Lucille Ball. And what does that have to do with anything? Hang on, I'll get there. Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball, as I said, married couple, they own Desilu Productions. And what did Desilu Productions do? They put out Star Trek, the original series. Unfortunately, he passed away December 2nd, 1986. I want to say from lung cancer. If you're still alive today, he would be 99 years old. If he hadn't died from natural causes already. March 2nd, 1949, actress Gates McFadden was born. You'd better know her as Dr. Crusher from Star Trek The Next Generation. She sat out the second season of the series for creative differences, from what I understand. But it was a phone call from her dear friend Patrick Stewart, a classy captain, if I might add, that convinced her to come back. She turned 67. All right, March 3rd, 1920. This one, I feel a very special bond with this one. Actor James Doohan was born. Canadian actor James Doohan played the role, of Scotty Prime, I should say. Star Trek: The Original Series in the first 7 movies of the franchise. Fortunately, he's no longer with us. Passed away July 20th, 2005. If he were still alive today, he would be the ripe old age of 96. Excuse me. On this day, March 5th, 1975, actress Jolene Blalock was born. Oh my God. You know, I always had a thing for Jadzia Dax growing up, but I got one look at DePaul. Holy crap. Science Officer T'Pol, Subcommander T'Pol, First Officer T'Pol, Commander T'Pol, however you know her, Star Trek Enterprise, Jonathan Archer's First Officer and Science Officer. Born on this day, 1975. She is 41 years old. Happy birthday to you. And March 6th in the year 2000, actor John Colicos died. Now, why am I bringing him up? Simple. He played the first Klingon that we ever encountered in Star Trek, chronologically, of course. Played Captain Kor in the episode Errand of Mercy. He reprised his role at least 3 times in Deep Space Nine. He passed away on this day on the 6th in the year 2000. Unfortunately, that was kind of a sad loss, but hey, you know what? There's something ironic about that. When Memory Alpha put up their... wait a minute, let me think about that. I don't remember it. I'm sorry. I'm swimming. Lord, I apologize. Be with the starving pygmies in New Guinea. Amen. That being said, let's move on to the meat and potatoes of this entry. Spoiler alert! Folks, the following segment contains plot details of the episode Enter Arma Item Sealant Legis from Star Trek Deep Space Nine's 7th season. I picked Sorry, thought I heard something. I picked this episode from Deep Space Nine. I picked this episode for one reason and one reason alone. I picked this episode because it aired on my birthday, 1999. Let's get into the synopsis, shall we? After a drink. Yeah, I'm feeling it. Excuse me. Colonel Kira is hosting a weekly war briefing with Odo, Lieutenant Commander Worf, who is representing the Klingon Defense Forces, Chief O'Brien, and Romulan Senator Kretak when the topic of ship repairs comes up. Two Romulan warbirds are continuously being bumped in favor of Klingon vessels. Worf and Kretak get into an argument about that, because Klingon vessels usually carry the brunt of the war. Excuse me. Which Kira cuts off. Kira asks O'Brien about fitting in the two warbirds for repairs, which can be, which he can put them in tomorrow, but at the same time, it would be done at the expense of the USS Hornet and the IKS Rotaran, which happens to be the 9th Fleet Supreme Commander's flagship. Odo mentions shore leave arrangements with Romulan and Klingon crews on the station, to which the senator states the Romulans will hold off on leave until the Klingons depart. Kira schedules a meeting for the next week, which Kretak will not be able to attend due to being on Romulus. Meanwhile, on the promenade, Garak and Dr. Bashir are discussing Romulan architecture, as Garak spent a stint on Romulus as a gardener. Bashir is going to Romulus to speak about Dominion biogenic weapons, host a symposium on Ketracel White, which you Deep Space Nine fans know what that is. I'll get into that later. And also broker a deal to transfer 25 Federation hospital ships to Romulan control, while Admiral Ross and his staff will be discussing military strategy. Garak comments that Starfleet intelligence would be wise to send an operative to gather intel on the Romulans' intentions during this wartime alliance. Later that night in Bashir's quarters, a figure is waiting for him as he sleeps. As Bashir wakes up and turns on the lights, the figure states that he has an assignment for Bashir. Excuse me. As Bashir threatens to call security, the individual, who is known as Sloan, tells Bashir he'd have trouble communicating outside the room. Excuse me. The organization, which is known as Section 31, wants Bashir to gather information on Romulan leadership to evaluate a temporary ally. What are their intentions? Section 31 believes that once the war is over, the Dominion will be forced out of the Alpha Quadrant, Cardassia Prime will be occupied, and the Klingons will be recovering from this war for the next 10 years, leaving only the Federation and Romulan Empire to grab for power. As Sloan leaves, Bashir grabs a phaser out of his cabinet to pursue, but ends up running into Dax in the corridor. The next morning, Bashir discusses the situation with Captain Sisko. Starfleet feels the conference is too important to cancel, and as Bashir is the leading expert on Dominion biogenic weapons, he's still going to the conference. Sisko has the chance to get someone inside of Section 31, and he's going to take it. Before wishing Bashir good hunting, Sisko reminds him about how dangerous Section 31 can be. Aboard the Intrepid-class starship, USS Bellerophon, Admiral Ross, Kretak, and Bashir enjoy a glass of Romulan ale, as the trading embargo has been lifted. I'm gonna assume that it was brought up after the Earth-Romulan War. Let me take a little segue here. But I'm going to assume after the Earth-Romulan War, the Federation, as it eventually came to be known, imposed an embargo which banned Romulan goods, such as Romulan ale, from coming into Federation space. That didn't stop any Starfleet officers from partaking. Right? Love Dr. Baker? All kidding aside. But due to the Federation and the Romulan Empire being allies during the war, they lifted the embargo. They figured, you know what? What the hell? Let's put our good foot forward. All right, back to that. The trading embargo has been lifted. Admiral Ross chokes himself up on the beverage slightly, surprising Kretak that he never indulged. Sloan, posing as a human named Wendell Greer. Sloan was human anyway. Anyway, posing as a human named Wendell Greer makes his way into the conversation. Under the guise of having questions about the Bajoran sector, he pulls Bashir away from the others, giving him pre-mission instructions. Later in the conference room, Ross and Bashir discuss Sloan's presence and setting limits on his access to the conference. In Bashir's quarters, Sloan and Bashir go over the main players of the Romulan government. Koval, the chairman of the Tal Shiar, is believed by Section 31 to be responsible for the death of Vice Admiral Fujisaki, who was the Deputy Chief of Starfleet Intelligence, by food poisoning. It is revealed that Koval's appointment to the Continuing Committee, which is a given for the head of the Tal Shiar, was held up due to his opposition to the alliance. Also, Senator Kretak is lobbying for the open seat due to her support of the alliance. Yeah, you saw that coming. Another factor against Koval is that he possibly has a disease known as Tuvan syndrome. Bashir realizes Section 31 is planning on making a move against Koval using his suspected disease. Sloan and Bashir go back and forth about what would happen if Koval comes to power. On Romulus, in a formal setting, Bashir is approached by Koval, who asks him about the quickening, specifically about recreating it and introducing it into a population. After Koval walks away, Bashir and Kretak talk about the chairman and the alliance. After Bashir's presentation, he and Sloan discuss their initial meeting and his demeanor. Bashir confirms to Sloan that Koval may be in the early stages of Tuvan syndrome and prognoses a life expectancy of another 20 to 25 years. As Sloan inquires about accelerating the disease, Bashir plays dumb and Sloan leaves. Aboard the Bellerophon, Ross and Bashir discuss Sloan's conversation with him, stating that a Romulan might be working for Section 31. He reveals to Ross that Sloan may be trying to kill Koval, and the best way to do that would be to maneuver him close to a source of Nadion radiation like a phaser array. Sloan won't be able to do that, which brings up the Romulan agent. Double agent, whatever you want to call it. Ross orders Bashir to sit tight until he gets back to him. However, later in the mess hall, Bashir overhears two crewmen talking about an admiral who collapsed due to an aneurysm. It is revealed that the admiral in question was Bill Ross. As Bashir turns to leave the mess hall, he spots Sloan talking with a young lieutenant who tips his glass to him as Bashir leaves. Excuse me. On Romulus, Bashir talks to Kretak regarding recent events and how he can't turn to anyone besides her. He doesn't feel he can trust anyone on the Bellerophon, and there has been a communications blackout put in place so he can't contact Captain Sisko. He lays out his suspicions to her, stating the possibility of a Romulan accomplice to Section 31. He asks her to access Koval's personal database, stating that he's, knowing full well he's asking her to commit treason. He manages to convince her by stating that it's up to them to save Koval, and ultimately the Alliance. Back on the Bellerophon, Bashir tells Sloan that Koval may not have Tuvan syndrome. He's like, my initial diagnosis may have been a little off. Sloan proposes he gets a sample of his DNA using a microcellular adhesive on his hand. In the Romulan Plaza, where the formal greeting took place earlier, Bashir approaches Koval under the guise of further discussing the quickening. Before Bashir has a chance to leave, Koval takes him into an interrogation chamber with two guards. Koval wants to know Bashir's real reasoning for being on Romulus, who he's working for, and his objectives, as the guards attach Romulan mind probes to Bashir's temples. After some time, Koval walks back into the chamber and receives a report that the mind probes were unsuccessful due to his genetic engineering. Under further questioning, Bashir remains silent. He is taken before the continuing committee, where Kretak has been caught trying to access Koval's personal database. Trying to. Bashir, warning Praetor Noral that his story might damage their alliance, reveals the truth to the committee about Sloane's plans and Kretak's involvement. Kretak tells the committee that she kept her own counsel in an effort to preserve the alliance. Koval stands, revealing the whole story hasn't been told yet. He has Sloane brought in, who's beaten and bloody, stating that Sloane works for Starfleet Intelligence and was the protege of Admiral Fujisaki. Koval reveals he's been diagnosed with Tuvan syndrome and details how Sloane recruited Bashir into the organization. When asked why Sloane went to Romulus himself, Sloane stated that he wanted to make sure nothing went wrong and to watch Koval die. Same to you. Noral rules that Kretak has been guilty of treason. Bashir should be returned to the Bellerophon, and that Sloane is remanded to the Tal Shiar for further interrogation. However, before anything happens, Sloane breaks free of the guards, grabs one of their disruptors, but before he can do anything, is killed by Koval. En route back to Deep Space Nine, Bashir is in his quarters, recounting recent events. Suddenly, he gets up and goes to the conference room, where Ross is catching up on paperwork. Bashir asks Admiral, "Where's Sloane?" To which Ross responds that he's dead. Knowing full well Sloane isn't dead, he asks again. After removing their comm badges, Ross asks Bashir how he knew. Bashir recounted the events from his recruitment before recapping everything that had happened on the mission to Romulus. Once Bashir realized Ross's involvement, everything else made sense. Koval had been providing Starfleet with intel for a year beforehand, but it isn't known when he started working for Section 31. Kretak will be dismissed from the Senate, most likely imprisoned, but hopefully not executed. Kretak, who is a Romulan patriot. Shit, I lost my spot. Pardon my language, folks. Kretak, who is a Romulan patriot, would have done what was in the best interest for Romulus in a short-sighted way. You know, what's good for us now? Okay, being Federation ally? Not good. Let's sign a peace agreement with the Dominion. Okay, Koval, on the other hand, who shared anti-alliance views, would propose that they stay in the war after recent events, ultimately ensuring not only Romulus's safety after the conflict, but the safety of the Alpha and Beta quadrants. When Ross is asked about his alliance with Section 31, he states he's done what he had to do in order to try to end the war quickly, and validating his actions by the ancient Latin phrase "inter armainem silent legis," which is translated to "in times of war the law falls silent," before dismissing Bashir. Bashir is woken up on the station to Sloane, alive and well. Sloane thanks him for being a decent human being during the mission. You know, willing to sacrifice everything to save a man. As Sloane excuses himself, Bashir calls security, but realizes there's no point after Odo answers him. Good stuff, huh? This is one of those to where I'm going to go ahead and say it now. A synopsis written and read by me, will not do this episode justice. Honestly, it would be in y'all's best, because that's actually a word, in y'all's best interest to go and actually watch the episode. It is a well-written episode. I have to give it props. All right, folks, let's go behind the scenes after I take a drink. The working title of this episode was simply Untitled Bashir. The title eventually used for this episode, Inter Arma Einem Silent Legis, is a Latin proverb literally meaning, in the presence of arms, the law grows silent. Although Bashir translates it differently. It is a variant of the phrase, Silent einem legis inter arma. Yeah, so on and so forth. Originally from the Roman orator Marcus Tullius Cicero's speech, Pro Milone, or For Milo. Excuse me. Irish Stephen Bear joked, I think Ron D. Moore, was trying to get even with Hans Beimler and me for wrongs darker than death or night. Or maybe he was looking to top everyone else, so he thought, Latin! In actuality, writer Ron Moore arrived at the title of the episode when browsing at a bookstore, at a point when he was already working on the episode but hadn't yet titled it. He found a copy of a book by William Rehnquist dealing with habeas corpus and its suspension during the American Civil War. On the book jacket, Moore discovered a blurb in which Abraham Lincoln's suspension of habeas corpus is described as a classic case of the old Roman dictum, inter arma silent legis. I'm not good with Latin, folks. I apologize. He felt the phrase would be perfect as the episode's title, as it synchronized well with the installment's theme. He sent the phrase to the show's research consultant, Joan Pierce, and talked with her about it, ensuring that he had the Latin correct. Pierce provided a longer version and told Moore he could arrange the words as he saw fit, since word order did not matter in Latin. Moore noted, we monkeyed around a little bit with the word order, so it looked good and sounded right. I was kind of proud of it. Despite Ron Moore being satisfied with the title, it was found questionable by others. People kept bugging me about, what the hell does this mean? What is this title of yours? I took perverse glee in the fact, Moore reminisced. The Voyager guys looked at me like I was crazy, and nobody knew how to pronounce the title, but we were going to stick with it. This is one of 8 Star Trek episodes with Latin names. The first one I've covered. Yes, it is. The others are Sub Rosa, Dramatis Personae, Ex Post Facto, Non Sequitur, Alter Ego, Terra Nova, and Vox Sola. Inter Arma Einem Silent Legis being number 8, of course. This episode was spawned by Inquisition. Particularly, Sisko's instruction to Bashir at the end of that episode that if he meets Sloane again, he is to pretend to join Sloane's cause. Ira Bear commented, we'd had the idea since the end of Inquisition. We wanted to bring him back. We just needed to find a spot for it when Bill Sadler will be available. Initially, the plan was for Bashir to fool Sloane and to expose him. But early in the writing process, Ron Moore took the script in an entirely different direction. Rather than Bashir duping Sloane, Bashir thinks he's duping Sloane, but in reality, Sloane is duping him. As Moore explained, the trick we came up with here was to really lead him along and make it look to the audience like he's ahead of the game. Make the audience believe he's figuring it all out, and then telling him, no, they figured him out. Figure that one out. Excuse me. When confronting Admiral Ross at the end of the episode, Bashir asks, is that what we've become, a 24th century Rome? His question has several layers of meaning. On the surface, it questions Ross's use of the Cicero quotation to justify his actions, yet it also draws attention to the fact that the political institutions of the Romulan Empire all take their names and vaguely their structure, from those of the Roman Empire. Bashir could be, in effect, asking whether the Federation is willing to become the next Romulan Empire. I didn't think about that one. The ship on which Bashir travels is called the Bellerophon. In German mythology, Bellerophon was the hero who slew the beast Chimera, which is also the title of the episode which was produced directly before Inter Arma Einem Silent Legis. As Ronald D. Moore explains, this was only a coincidence. The Bellerophon was a ship on which Lord Nelson sailed. That's where I plucked the name from. After someone pointed out that the mythic creature of Bellerophon rode a winged horse named Pegasus, also the name of the ship from the Next Generation episode of the same name, Moore commented, "Yeah, someone pointed that out to me after the fact, but I wasn't trying to draw a connection between the two." On the connection between the titles of this and the previous episodes, Moore simply admitted, "I didn't even know that." The 19th century poem Sloane refers to, but does not identify completely, as the source of the phrase "never say die" is the mention. Damn it. I'm not sober, folks. I apologize. The phrase "never say die" comes from the Italian play The Merchant of Venice, a legend of Italy, blah, 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 by Richard Harris Barham, writing under the pseudonym Thomas Ingoldsby. Yeah, I'm not sober, folks. I apologize. The episode is closely similar in story and theme to John le Carré's classic spy novel, The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, in which a British intelligence agent participates in an elaborate plot to frame the head of East German intelligence for treason, only to discover that the man really is a British mole. And the outcome of the plot is to discredit a well-meaning, sympathetic member of East German intelligence who was getting close to exposing the mole. Likewise, in this episode, the unsympathetic Koval is saved by a Section 31 deception, while the well-meaning Senator Kretak is sacrificed in order to allow Koval to continue to serve the Federation. Whoa. Alright, let me take a pause for the cause on that one. Folks, you know how you get that moment where, like, the camera's zooming in on you, but it looks like the background is getting further and further away? Yeah, I just had one of those moments. Since 1999, this one has stumped me. I'm going to go ahead and admit it. This episode has stumped me. Earlier, some of it kind of made sense, but after I read that, it was one of those like, holy crap. That makes any sense. All right, let's talk about production on this one. This episode was filmed between December 2nd, 1998 and December 10th, the same year. This episode was shot prior to Bada Bing, Bada Bang, but aired following. It was thus the last standalone episode of the series to be shown before the 9-part finale. When I get to that one, I'm going to talk about all 9 parts one after another. I'm just going to say that now. Stock footage from Star Trek Voyager is used at certain points. For example, a flyby of the USS Bellerophon is a recycled effect of the USS Voyager. Excuse me. To that point, you can clearly see the registry NCC 74656 on the saucer. All the scenes aboard the Bellerophon were filmed on Star Trek Voyager sets, specifically Voyager's mess hall, lower-ranking crewmen's quarters, and conference room, with the bridge seen past the doors. Ron Moore was the one who put forward the idea to use Voyager sets rather than simply using the Defiant. When we started structuring the show, I called Rick Berman and Voyager executive producer Brandon Braga and Voyager supervising producer Mary Howard and said, "I'd really like to use the Voyager sets on this. We could have reused the Defiant sets once again, saying the Bellerophon was a Defiant-class starship, but I didn't want to. I thought that using a bigger starship with a different look would make the mission seem bigger and more important. We could save a lot of money if we went over and used their existing stuff rather than building a new ship." The DS9 scenes were scheduled on a day when the Voyager crew was working on a different soundstage. You know, alright, folks, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there now. I'm going to take another pause. But if you can tell me what episode was made at the same time this one was, I'll give you a greeting on the next episode of Prosper. That being said, this is the last episode of the series to be directed by David Livingston. The mess hall of the Intrepid-class ships were originally shown to have a wall of replicators. This wall, along with the captain's dining room, were converted into a galley by Neelix in the episodes Caretaker and Phage, respectively. Excuse me. The galley is present on the USS Bellerophon. This is due to the fact, as stated above, that the sets from Star Trek Voyager were used for the interior of the Bellerophon. Let me expand on that a little bit. When the Voyager episode Message in a Bottle takes place chronologically about a year before this episode does, before the Romulans joined the war, as stated by the EMH Mark II. Now, it can be said that when the Doctor's program transferred to the USS Prometheus, other information such as the memories, like going to the mess hall, seeing the galley, were also transferred to that ship, but remained when the Doctor was transferred back to Voyager. I'll talk about that episode later, so as to kind of clear up any confusion. But my theory is just that. When the Doctor was transferred to the Prometheus, his memories were kind of integrated into the ship's computer, and integrated and stored, basically moved over, saved, and then a month later he was sent back, later he was sent back to Voyager. Does that kind of make sense? Does it? I mean, honestly. Hello? I've almost gone through one of these. Come on, help me out a little bit. Throw a dog a bone, as it were. All right, let me get back on the road. Sloan references the group of genetically engineered humans from the episode Statistical Probabilities. This is the only appearance outside of Star Trek Voyager of an Intrepid-class starship. However, an image of an Intrepid-class starship appears in the Enterprise episode Future Tense. Koval asks Bashir about the Teplin Blight, which he calls the Quickening. This is a reference to the episode called The Quickening. Nural and Bashir both state that the Quickening occurred on planet Baranus 3. Though this contradicts the earlier episode, in which Baranus 3 is mentioned as a planet where Bashir had previously cured a plague before he tackled or had even heard of the Teplin Blight. I'll get back to you on that one. This is the only episode where we see the new style white dress uniforms created for Star Trek Insurrection, as worn by Bashir and Ross while meeting with the delegates on Romulus. As they had done with the gray uniforms seen in Star Trek First Contact, the producers decided to hold back the appearance until after Insurrection was in movie theaters. Makes sense. The Romulan ale, recurringly mentioned to be illegal and attainable since Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan, is finally legal in this episode in the context of the Federation Alliance. However, in Star Trek Nemesis, it is again mentioned to be illegal. Makes sense. Hey, Romulans, we want you to be our partners, so we'll lift our trade embargo. Oh, okay, the war's over? Back to where you were. Trade embargo's back in effect. It is what it is. Personally, if it had been me, I'd just, not lifted the embargo. Which could lead to... Never mind. That's a discussion for later. Elam Garrick's life as a gardener on Romulus was first mentioned in the episode Broken Link. This is the first of only 4 times that Romulus is seen from orbit. The planet is not seen again until Star Trek Nemesis, and later again in Star Trek Enterprise's 4th season. From orbit? Really? I'm going to have to research that one. I think that may be wrong. I'll let you know next time. This is the first time in Star Trek that a Federation starship is shown to visit Romulus. That is actually true. Sub-Commander Valal, mentioned by Kretak, later appears, played by Stephen Yoakum, in the episodes When It Rains and The Dogs of War. I remember him now. Okay. The role of Senator Kretak was originally played by Megan Cole in Image in the Sand, and Shadows and Symbols. She was unavailable to reprise the role for this episode, so the producers chose Adrienne Barbeau instead. I know Josh Baker knows that name. As director David Livingston noted, it was a good choice. She'd been in before to read for Star Trek, and this time she nailed the part. Excuse me. Lord, I apologize. She brought a lot of humanity to it, which made Kretak a very rich character. She had the strength of a Romulan, but a great deal of emotional depth. Ron Moore agreed with Livingston. Adrian was great. She brought something different to the role. Excuse me. A certain sympathy and vulnerability that worked for the character in this episode. You wanted to like Kretak more in this than you had in the other 2 episodes. Tell you, Megan Cole is a stone-faced, cold-hearted woman. At least as Kretak, anyway. And that made you feel bad that she was going to go down in the end. I did kind of feel bad for her. I really liked Adrienne Barbeau as Kretak in this one. I did. I really did. All right, let's move on. Praetor Neural was previously seen as a proconsul in the Next Generation episode Unification 1 and Unification 2, where he was played by Norman Large. When asked why Large was not sought to reprise his role, Ron Moore remarked, We considered it, but decided to go in another direction. John Fleck makes his 4th Star Trek appearance here. His 3rd and last on Deep Space Nine. His first appearance was in the Next Generation episode The Mind's Eye, where he played another Romulan, Tabak. Was it really Tabak? Anyway, his 2 previous Deep Space Nine appearances came in The Homecoming as a Cardassian officer, and The Search Part 1 as the Karama First Minister Ornithar. That's it. He later guest starred in the Voyager episode Alice, before taking on the recurring role of Silic in Star Trek Enterprise. Armin Shimmerman and Sirach Lofton do not appear in this episode. Go figure about Sirach. No offense to Sirach, but Jake Sisko is one of those that they kind of brought in when they needed him. Hey, it worked sometimes. Go see The Visitor if you don't believe me. Moving on from that, Nicole DeBoer, who plays Esri Dax, appears for a total of 6 seconds. Yeah. Anyway, Irish Stephen Barrett was a little disappointed with how this episode ultimately turned out. It's an excellent show, but it doesn't have all the levels it should have. We thought we'd do a show about the compromising of Bashir. Unfortunately, it doesn't do that. At the end, Bashir winds up making this angry, pointed speech to Ross, which is a lot less interesting than the situation at the end of In the Pale Moonlight. That was a good Deep Space Nine episode. Probably one of my top 5, but I'll get into that one later. There, a man is trying to deal with his own culpability. And this is a show that demanded, I felt, Bashir's culpability. And he gets to walk away clean with him being the one pointing the finger. Not this finger. It takes the show down a notch and it keeps it from reaching the level we wanted. Honestly, I see that. I'm not going to lie one bit. I do see that. If Bashir hadn't been able to walk away with it cleanly, not only would that have changed the way we look at Bashir, but that also would have probably wreaked havoc on the alliance with the Romulans. That's speculation, though. Ron Moore said of the change in Kretak's personality, Kretak was much harder in the 2-parter because she was there to serve a different purpose. She hadn't been designed with this episode in mind. Happens. On playing a different side of Admiral Ross, actor Barry Jenner commented he'd do anything to save the Federation. And here he put so much value on the success of the war efforts that he's willing to do things that might not be thought of as honest and above board. He was willing to bend some rules behind the scenes and go through some soul searching to defend the integrity of the Federation. I see that. Now with all my revelations of this episode, I see that 100%. Just adds depth to Ross. Bear likened Ross's character change to Sisko's. Ross is a compromised guy, just like Sisko. But it's not like he's a double agent. If he were, we'd have never allowed him to marry Sisko and Cassidy. It's so spooky talking about this stuff. It almost sounds heretical. Compromised heroes. Compromised supporting characters. It's wonderful, isn't it? I'm very proud of what we've been allowed to do. By the way, that's a spoiler for a future episode, but I'm not going to go into that now. Authors Mark Jones and Lance Parkin wrote of this episode, some clever writing lets you think Bashir is in control when Section 31 is already one step ahead of the game. Sadly, there's no exploration of Bashir's guilt, which is eloquently swept under the carpet in a fierce retort with Ross towards the end. Inner Arma has all the makings of a great show, with Bashir subsumed with guilt, but doesn't have the courage of its convictions. I'd kind of disagree with that one. In a way, Bashir did admit guilt, but at the same time, the Romulans kind of looked at it as the lesser of two evils, if that makes any sense. That's just my take of it. That's just my take on that one. Cinema Fantastique, forgive me on that one, scored this episode 3 out of 4 stars. Star Trek Monthly rated the episode 4 out of 5 and gave it an enthusiastic review, raving, Inner Arma is by far one of the best episodes the series has produced in its 7 years, turning every concept on its head and producing the most interesting and controversial story to date. As a mysterious and self-righteous Sloane, William Sadler is the perfect foil for Dr. Bashir's idealism. His parting words, an example of Ron Moore at its finest. This is the dirty world of covert ops and its thrilling best. At its thrilling best, excuse me. I told you I'm not sober. I'm very buzzed right now. Almost drunk. Probably will be by the time I slam what's left of this. Star Trek author Keith R.A. DeCandido enjoyed the courtroom scene, but criticized the fact that Sloane had managed to accomplish everything without being detected once. He said, the laziest writing tool in the book is the unstoppable foe, in which the foe always manages to avoid detection. Always manages to plan 3 steps ahead. Always manages to do something impossible to get away in the end. In this episode alone, Sloane manages to sneak onto and off a military base in the middle of a war twice, get himself assigned to a sensitive mission, corrupt a Starfleet admiral, fake his own death, and get away from the most secure location in the Romulan Empire. We're given no explanation for how Sloane does any of this. The death faking is the only thing that even gets a token attempt, and it's pretty much the same trick the mercenaries pulled in Gambit Part 1. In contrast, DeCandido praised the performance of both Adrienne Barbeau and John Fleck, but expressed disappointment with Barry Jenner, describing his performance as wooden. Overall, he labeled the episode very fun and full of some crackling dialogue, awarding it a warp factor rating of 6 out of 10. I'm going to change that to warp 9.99 repeating because warp 10 is not achievable. Folks, I'm already an hour into this one, but hey, you know what? This was a good episode. This was a good birthday episode. Lots of greetings I wanted to extend. Hey, you know what? It's my show. It's my birthday show. I'll do what I want. But that being said, let me slam this. It's dead, Jim. And at the same time, I want to thank everybody for taking the opportunity to tune in like you all may or may not have done before. Thank you all so very much. I'm honored that you've given over an hour of your time to me. I know your time is precious, and if you've chosen to give it to me, I thank you so very much. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to make like the Enterprise and warp out. Everybody take care. Have an awesome night or day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. If you do, name it after me. Don't drink and drive because you might spill your drink. More importantly, you might kill yourself or someone else. And drinking and driving is dumber than being a Twilight fan. And what's worse than that is rooting for cheating bastards like Tom. Giselle won't let me go to the Pro Bowl, and in the NFL's frickin' appeal, they grilled me and my lawyers really hard, and I might have to serve that 4-game suspension. Brady, men slapping women, racism, animal abuse, fake friends, people who ouch on bets, or anyone who is a member of, supports, or defends the Agony Booth website, ISIS, or the Westboro Baptist Church. We tried to pick at Leonard Nimoy's funeral, but couldn't find it. Oh, while I'm thinking about it, Josh Baker, you gave me information on this one. You have a Welcher in your ranks. I'm going to go ahead and call them out now without using their name. According to information I have, if the Boston Bruins, since the Boston Bruins beat the Chicago Blackhawks, this certain individual who is not worthy of being named on my show has to display Boston Bruins love on his Facebook page in the form of a profile picture and a cover photo for 24 hours. They have not done it. I call them a Welcher, and I give them one of these. That goes back to the whole Welcher thing. I'm going to call it as I see it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for bearing with me. And as always, live long and prosper.